Hi, everybody. This is Marcy Melzer, intuitive speech and language pathologist. I'm coming live from Chicago. I made it. It was a great flight. It was early in the morning. I've got here and I've checked into my hotel. And what's the first thing I'm going to do? Get myself set up so that I can do a live to talk about language facilitation and travel. So I've had a lot of chance to watch a lot of people in the process of my trip on the way here. And I have some ideas for you. If you have a late talker and you are considering doing a plane or car trip that has some time behind it, and how to get, some tips to help you make that an easier journey and have a great time doing language facilitation while you're at it. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is how to make the plane or car ride a little easier and smoother for your late talker. The first thing that I always recommend for families, by the way, travel is an amazing opportunity for language facilitation. Hey, Tracy, I see a few people have joined me, and I'm so glad to have you on this live. I'm really excited to be in Chicago and talking to you all about it, so I'm just going to dig in. So like I said, travel is an excellent opportunity for language facilitation because it provides you with all kinds of opportunities for problem solving and new vocabulary or things that your child hasn't seen before. And the greatest thing about new experiences is that it catches your child's attention. It's not the same old stuff you do every day. When you travel, even the act of traveling itself is an experience that you can use to do some great language facilitation. But travel is newness, travel is change, travel is different. And some late talkers don't like it when their regular routine is shaken up a little bit, especially if you as a mom have been, kind of regimented at home and sort of always eat at the same time or always go things and do things at the same time. If you have a pretty structured life at home, traveling can be kind of frustrating and difficult for kids, and I think, maybe even a source of stress for parents. So what I want to do on this video is help you make it a little bit easier for you and your late talker. So the first thing, like I said, is getting through the ride there and home. And so on the plane that I rode on today, somebody mentioned that, people were packed in there like sardines, and that was the truth. People had to check bags because they wouldn't fit in the overhead bin. It was packed, this plane. And the seats are small, not very big, not very much room. And in order to get anywhere, you have to be around a lot of people on the plane. So the thing that's really important about this whole process for your child is what I call prep work, okay? So if you're going to be traveling on a plane and your child's never seen a plane up close, never, just except for watching them up in the sky, I highly recommend that you look up some YouTube videos or books, get books from the library about traveling. There are many out there that you can find. Bobby goes to so-and-so, or Bobby goes to grandma's even, and it's about packing your suitcase and all the things about that. And the more you can involve your child in the prep work before your trip, by telling them about what you're going to do, the people you're going to see, the things you're going to encounter, that's going to help your late talker with riding out the changes through the whole process, because you can't always eat the same food. You can't certainly sleep in the same bed. You might not even ride in the same car or car seat. If you're traveling and you borrow or loan one or rent one with your car, it could be all completely different. So the first tip is prep work, and talk about how you're going to have a new car seat or a new car to drive in, and that kind of stuff ahead of time. So, and as far as the plane itself, there are some things, of course, that you can do to make the plane ride easier. And the first thing I have as far as a suggestion is plan something to take with you that provides your child with a sensory experience. That, because if they're a busy child and they want to get up and run around, that the fact that they're moving a lot is their sensory experience, and sometimes that really helps them stay regulated or calm or centered. And when things are new, having something calm or centered to have with you that you're familiar with can be very comforting. And so I have a couple examples here. The thing that I use is this neck pillow. Now, neck pillows, if you travel, they, go like this. This one has a clippy on it, so I can clip it to my bag when I'm walking around. But just to have something special like this for your little one that is theirs, that they can use for their trip to make them more comfortable, is a really nice thing to think about. And you can get them that are all different kind of shapes. Now, this one does double duty because it's made of memory foam. So when you squeeze it, you get some feedback from it. It's not just a soft foam like a pillow foam. This is memory foam. So when you squish it, you have to put a little effort into it, and you can do whatever. And your little one can wear it and squish it, and that provides them with some deep muscle activity that they normally would get by running around. But you can't do that if you're strapped in a car seat in the car or on an airplane. So a pillow, a neck pillow for travel, one that has memory foam on it, or any kind of a memory foam or squishy sort of thing. Here's another example. I brought this from home. This is a alligator. It's a stretchy and it squishes. So if your little one has a toy or thing like that they have that they like, that's always a good thing to take. But perhaps think about getting something new just for the trip that's novel. It's not like obviously there will be a teddy bear that they love or blankie or something like that's going to be important to have. But think about taking something different that provides a sensory activity them to do with their hands while they're in the car, okay? And then the other thing that you could do new for your car ride is many kids are going to use a tablet or a phone or something like that. In fact, most of the adults that were on the plane were using things like that to get through the car ride. So my suggestion is have a new game or a new program or something like that for your child to explore while they're on the plane that it isn't something they've seen before, that they're going to get bored with in a minute. And you can introduce that game to them before they go, so you can show it to them, or you can spend your time on the plane trying to figure it out with your child. It's an amazing time killer to work out and solve some little problems in short space. So a sensory activity for the vehicle while you're traveling, and new things, a new toy, a new program on their iPad, things like that that are going to make that experience go faster, the boring car ride. Now, of course, while you're traveling, of course, looking out the window and talking about all the things that are outside is going to be an important part of your language facilitation journey, because you're going to see things potentially that you wouldn't normally see. If you're up in an airplane, you're going to see clouds from the top down, which is a really cool thing to see. You might see the sun coming up or going down on the horizon, something cool to look at. Or even looking at the wing outside the plane. That's really cool. As you're boarding the plane, look out the windows and see if you can see anything outside, so you can, wow, we're in a big plane and all the stuff is outside and all those houses are little and all that stuff. Amazing things to talk about just while you're on the plane to help your kiddo learn more about what's going on and experience the trip with you. It's not just if their face is in their tablet the whole time, then they're not experiencing the trip. The lady will come with beverages, something for you to let your child know. And a really cool language facilitation mom is going to prep her child in how to ask for the beverage of their choice. So you talk about it with your child first, and then when the lady comes, or man, instead of you saying what your child wants, ask your child to, say that themselves. It's a really great way for them to be part of the trip. So before you go, you're going to include them in it. And while you're on the trip, you're going to include them in everything possible. Sitting in the seat, helping them put their seatbelt on, let them help push it in. Oh, I lost my sign. I had a feeling that might happen because I get so excited with my hands. Anyway, so that's the other thing. So make sure that you are involving your child in the whole process of the car ride. If you have to put gas in the car and you go to the gas station, talk about the fact that you have to put gas in the car. Don't just let your little one sit on the tablet while you're there. Talk about all of the experiences. Now, another good prep work before you go is to experience public bathrooms. So unless your child is in diapers and not using the potty at all, the only bathrooms on vacation are not the ones at home. So a lot of them are loud. A lot of them have those big noisy hand dryers that are so loud. The toilets are noisy. They spit out water. It can be kind of nutty, the bathroom. So my suggestion is, if you're going to travel around your neighborhood, the next time you go to the grocery store or something like that, even though you don't necessarily have to go potty, give your child some experience with public restrooms so that they're not petrified to do it and you have to deal with a meltdown in the middle of the airport just because your child won't go in the bathroom. Let them know that, it's potty time, ideally before you get on the plane. And if your child is a frequent bathroom user, I suggest that you pre-board and go check out the bathroom even before you sit down, so you can let your child know what it is and what to expect. Any kind of prep work ahead, especially if your child is on the autism spectrum and that kind of travel, new things are, loud things, surprising things can set your child off or be triggers for them. As much prep work as you can do ahead of your travel is going to really help you in the long run. And then make sure that you're looking around and talking about all the things around you. There are a million things in airports to look at. Yeah, there was a little guy sitting next to me with his dad, and where I live in Florida, there's a lot of pirate-themed things, and there was a pirate-themed restaurant at the airport. It was closed because it was early in the morning, but the dad had pointed out, look, there's a pirate ship, and the boy looked at his dad and said, that's a restaurant. So I thought that was really cool. Some nice engagement, like the dad was, sort of just pointing things out, and then they were having some discussion about it. So that's a really good way to, make your airport experience a lot better, because, you're going early, and that's the other thing. Go early. Do not push it because the lines are long and kids have to wait. Prep your kid for waiting. You just kind of never know what sort of things can happen in the airport. And so you have to really be prepared for anything. And going early and having things to do is going to be most important. So if you do go early, it's a great time to walk around the terminal and explore things. So that's great. All right. The next thing, I know there's tons of tips about traveling that I can give you, but I want to move on. The next thing that many late talkers have trouble with is adjusting to new surroundings. Like I said, it's going to be a new bathrooms, it's going to be new bed, it's going to be new places, and even new kinds of, like I said, transportation. You might be riding on buses or in taxis or taking Ubers, and you never used to do that at home, or they're new experiences for your child, or riding in grandma's car or something like that. All of these new things are going, the more, again, prep work for your child. But, the idea of the fact that it's going to be a new situation is really fun, because now we're problem solving. How do I put, where do we put our teddy bear? Where are you going to put your special blanket? Where will you put your clothes? Help your child adjust and unpack when you go there, even if you're only staying overnight. Have your child help you put their things away so that they know where to find them, even if it's just in the suitcase. If they have their suitcase, they know where their things are. And that's very comforting for a child to know that this is where they're going to be. This is going to be your bed. Lay down on your bed. Try out your bed before it's nighttime. Get a chance to really get accustomed, especially if you stay in a hotel. A lot of people like to jump on the bed. I'm not condoning that, but it's been happening in my life. You know, it's just one of the things about being in a new place. Really explore it and learn, and help your child adjust by involving them in the process. Now, the other thing that you may have to really adjust for, which I did today, is it could be very different weather where you are traveling. Maybe you live where it's warm, like me in Florida, and you've traveled to someplace like Chicago and they've had quite a little chilly snap here. I got off the plane and I got to tell you, I was cold. I had stuck some gloves in my pocket and I wasn't even sure if I was going to need them, and I was really glad I had them for that ride on the shuttle bus over to get my rental car. So the weather may be different where you're going, so prep your child ahead by looking at the clothes you're going to wear. If it's going to be cold, show your child the mittens and hats and boots and all of those things that you're going to wear. If you're going to the beach, talk about the swimsuits you're going to wear and the different kinds of clothes. It's going to be hot. We have to wear a hat in the sun. You know, things like that. Really prep your child for the clothes they're going to wear, because if the weather is different and it feels very different, sometimes that can throw kids off. And it also is a fabulous thing to talk about, because, you know, I get to wear my coat and boots and sweaters that I don't get to wear in Florida very often. And so it's kind of fun to try those new things. And of course, we're making everything fun on this trip, because it's a trip, it's vacation. You want to make it fun. So adjusting to where you're staying, helping your child to get involved, prepping for the weather, and all of that. All right, so then the next one, which is a biggie, is about family and friends who you're going to visit. Sometimes family live far away, and you know, you've traveled on an airplane to go see grandma and grandpa, or even on a long car or train ride, and grandma and grandpa haven't seen you for a while, and your late talker is not one who is very used to new people. This is a very, very common thing for late talking kids, and it keeps parents home a lot, because kids are so attached to a parent. They don't want to, you know, communicate with other people. And so it's really important that you do a little prep work, again, not just with your child, but with your family. So a good way is to do some video chat ahead of your trip with your family. Do it on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, it's free. You can talk to anybody all over the world doing the Facebook Messenger chat. You can do that, or use your phone or whatever, your computer. But do a little internet chat with those people so your child can see them, hear how they talk, hear how their voice is. Maybe they speak a different language and you'll have to do some interpreting for them. All of those things are really helpful for your child to know going in to see these unfamiliar people. And then outside of your child, have a conversation with those people and let them know that your child is anxious or intimidated potentially by new people, or they don't really like loud things, or they don't really like, you know, or they are loud, and, you know, to prep your family for your loud kid. And, you know, all of those things, you should have a conversation with the people that you're going to see before you take your kiddo over there, and meet them in person, so that the whole experience works out to be a lot more, you know, easy for them to move through and adjust. And if it turns out that you show up and your child is very intimidated, doesn't want to leave your side, gets upset, then you have to slowly work them in. So really honor their feelings, because it's not, you know, anytime as a child, go give grandma a hug when they're kind of petrified of grandma because they haven't seen her very often. Let grandma know that your child may not be ready to run up and give kisses and hugs like other kids because they're just not used to new people yet. It might take them time. And allow your child that time to warm up to people. If your child is inappropriate in an aggressive way, like they're digging in stuff, they're climbing the cabinets, they're doing all that and whatever, then you have to work with your child about establishing boundaries in that new place and encourage those other folks who are around, the people you're visiting, to also honor those boundaries and, make sure that things that are not safe or not, appealing or appropriate for your child are things that you can keep them away from. That's kind of a no-brainer, but something really to think about, because some kids have no fear and they walk into a place and are ready to tear it up from the get-go. That's something you need to be prepped for ahead and know how to, work with other people around you to help create boundaries for your child when you're traveling, because you can't have them be unsafe, obviously, and you can't have them trash other people's things. So that's the next thing. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk to you about is how to enjoy the activities that you plan. And so again, it takes a little bit of prep work. Really sort of try to schedule out your time while you're traveling so that you're doing the things that your kiddo has the most activity for. It doesn't always happen that way, but give it a try to see if you can pick the time of day when your kiddo is the most alert and responsive and learning from you and things like that, to go to the zoo or the museum or the children's museum or things like that. You don't necessarily have the opportunity to pick a time when other people are having a party, like a graduation or a wedding or something like that you're going to, but do the best you can to prep your child to be at their physical best for the activities that you plan. Make sure you fed them before, make sure you take food with you, make sure that you have their personal item that they have that they can get. Otherwise, your child, unless you're one of those moms who, like, your child gets a new personal item everywhere you go, part of your experience is going to the gift shop, which I love, and you always have something new. Perhaps going to the gift shop at the beginning of your trip might help your child to look at the things that they can explore to have instead of at the end. It's all up to you to see how it goes to make those trips easier. And of course, choose activities that your child is interested in and can participate in. So children's museums are a great idea. Aquariums and museums that have kid zone areas. Even shopping, if you go to the mall, things like that. Those are activities that you'll choose that are familiar enough to your child that you'll be able to explore and see new things. But even going to the mall in a new town is a new experience. So you don't have to spend lots of money doing all of those, the touristy things. You can explore your new surroundings just by going to the pet store in Chicago when you visit, or visiting a new park, outdoor park, and experiencing nature, going for hikes and looking at the water if you're at the beach or whatever. Spend time exploring the environment of the place that you're visiting without having to pay to play, for all of that stuff. And that's how you can enjoy your child with those things. And then the last tip about traveling is don't be afraid to bail. If your child is losing it, having a meltdown, gets upset about whatever, don't be afraid or intimidated by other people. It just kind of goes how it goes. Sometimes you'll have happy people who help you. Sometimes you'll have people who are rude. And that's just kind of how it goes. But make sure for your own self that you know that you are doing the best you can as a parent. It all comes down to hugs and cuddles and making your child feel happy and safe the whole trip, by giving them the tools that they need, and you have the tools that you need to keep yourself easy, safe, and calm. Give yourself lots of time, plan on lots of food, take your water bottle, your empty water bottle, to the airport because you can't get it in through customs with your with it full, but there's always places to fill it up. And what I did was I put a lemon in mine, and before I filled it with water and took it empty so that I could fill it up, and then I had some nice lemon water for me. So do a treat for yourself. Don't only think about food and stuff for your kiddos. Make sure that there's some little thing that you have, a neck pillow, a water bottle with a lemon in it, you know, something like that, to make the trip fun for you too. Because if it isn't fun, it isn't fun. So that's it for this little travel video. I didn't want to get too long with this one. I'm going to be doing all kinds of videos for the next few days when I'm in different places exploring in Chicago and talking about language facilitation. So I hope that you'll join me. I hope this video was helpful, and you'll be able to join me on my next video. And until then, have a great day, everybody, and keep language facilitation. Go ahead and plan that trip. You can do a great job with your kiddo. Have fun.